So as a result of the situation surrounding Amaranth's Mayor Bob Curry and his comments on the pride flag, there has been an initiative to form a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Community Advisory Committee in the Township of Amaranth. This was spearheaded by Deputy Mayor Chris Gerrits, who put up with a lot of resistance from some of the other council members. One of the concerns that was brought up was the cost of the committee, and this was Deputy Mayor Chris Gerrits' response.
In terms of cost, I'd be willing to work into the motion. I will cover the cost, all costs for the remainder of 2020 and all of 2021. We will reimburse the township 100%, so the cost should not be an issue. I strongly believe that this is something that the residents of Amaranth need at the moment.
Obviously, this matters, and if it wasn't for him offering to pay out of pocket, along with some support from Councillor Gail Little, it is likely that this wouldn't have happened. I kind of feel obligated to contrast this with Mayor Curry insisting to be a tour guide for the town staff, at the request of no one, while wanting to be reimbursed for mileage. Many would consider this to be odd, but I want to focus on the good news here, so I won't harp on it too much. Anyways, even with Deputy Mayor Gerrits offering to pay out of pocket, that may not have been enough. Luckily, Stacey Whittington, community activist who originally raised the issue around Amaranth's lack of a pride flag, was ready to help make this a reality.
I think that we need to appoint Stacey Whittington and myself to so that we can take the next steps that are required.
Are you certain that Ms. Whittington will?
Yeah, she is. She's told me that she will. She's on the call and just put her hand up, so I'm assuming she's going to confirm. If you would unmute her. Yeah.
I will, and the mayor step back. Sorry. Stacey, go ahead.
I can confirm that I would like to be a part of the committee.
Thank you for that.
Now, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee is recruiting members, and all it takes is a brief letter of interest to join. And this is open until 4 p.m. on September 30th. More information on this can be found through the Associated Dufferin News Post or on the Township of Amaranth's Facebook page or website. But today, we are lucky enough to be joined by Stacey Whittington, who is willing to provide time to explain more about the Diversity and Inclusion Committee and why she got involved. I'm Josh McEwen, and I hope you enjoyed this segment of Dufferin News. Thanks. So hi, it's Josh McEwen here with Dufferin News, and today I'm joined by Stacey Whittington, who's helping form the Diversity Committee in Amaranth. So how are you doing today, Stacey? Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. I'm doing great. It's a nice day out, and we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So the closing date for the Amaranth for the applications, or the letters of interest, I should say, for starting the Amaranth Diversity Committee is ending soon. It's coming up on September 30th.
Yep.
So there has been some interest, but we want to help make sure that everyone has an opportunity to join, because we want to make sure it's as well known to as many people as possible, because we know there is a lot of interest in helping make sure that Amaranth is a diverse place and an inclusive place for everybody involved. Am I right in assuming?
Yep. No, I think it's very important, especially in light of all of the media coverage that our town has gotten. We have a little bit of a tarnished reputation, and I think this is one of the great steps in kind of moving forward and trying to, show other areas and our own residents that, we are taking the steps to become a more diverse and inclusive area.
100%. So what made you want to get involved with this?
I originally got involved because of the lack of a pride flag that was that we didn't have flying in June here in Amaranth. As a member of the LGBTQ community and the Amaranth community, I thought it was time that we rectified that problem. And out of all of the things that happened in the last 6 months or so regarding that, the Diversity Committee seemed like a really good thing to have.
Stacey mentions how other municipalities in the area put together similar committees. An example would be Shelburne, and how she thinks it could be beneficial to the Township of Amaranth. And
it seemed like a great idea that we could try here to help, educate and support different aspects of the community here in Amaranth.
100%. I mean, from what I understand, you were right on the call, ready to join.
I was. It was really neat to be able to actually talk during the township meeting. I try to listen to as many as I can. And when it came up, whether or not I would be a willing participant, I jumped right in on that to let them know I would.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because I know that helped make sure that this actually did happen. Because I mean, I know Councillor Gerrits and Deputy Mayor Gerrits and Councillor Little did need the support in helping make this happen. So I mean, I know that you being there to help support this and helping express your interest in this was integral to helping make sure this happened. So I mean, it was extremely important, and it shows how getting involved in the political process in our communities can really help make a difference.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't have imagined that we'd get even this far in what we were doing. And I mean, Deputy Mayor Gerrits has been fantastic in spearheading things and really pushing for things at council, as well as Councillor Little, just getting the discussions had at tables and really pushing for us to just try this out and see if this is something that works for our community, is the start that I think we need to become more diverse and equitable.
100%. So I just want to make sure it's clear, but what is the goal of the Diversity Committee?
So the goal of our committee is really to create a group that is representative of all the different types of people that live in our community. Anybody, LGBTQ community, we're looking for a youthful person to join from maybe high school age. We're anybody from the Black community or people of color, or anyone that has any interest in affecting change in our community, to just educate our council, educate our community, see what kind of supports we need here to make it feel more inclusive for everyone.
So do you guys think you'd be like putting on like maybe cultural celebrations possibly and things like that?
I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like to start out with for this calendar year. The first kind of steps that we're taking is just to get a group together and then make terms of reference so that we know what our position is going to be and what the different things that we're going to do. It'll depend too on what the makeup of our group is, because everybody's going to be bringing different experience to the group. But cultural celebrations, educational workshops, things like that might be something that we undertake.
Great. So it seems like there's a lot of room for people to like actually get their voice in on this.
That's important. Yeah, that was one of the big important things to me about having this committee, was that we had a lot of people that didn't have a voice or weren't sure how to get their voices heard, particularly at our community or council level.
That's great, because I mean, people say they don't know how to get involved, or they can't, or they feel like it doesn't really make a difference. Well, I mean, like, you can see how it can make a direct difference here, and I mean, the work you put in could actually result in some real change in this community and some stuff that people appreciate, that really do appreciate.
Yeah, and it's as simple as writing a letter, like the letters you can write to the public question period for council meetings. That is a great way to start to get your voice heard, and that's how the beginning of affecting any change that we're looking at right now, how it happened for me. So anybody that has questions, I totally encourage you, submit things to council meetings, because you start there with your voice.
Makes complete sense. So I know it's just getting started, but what do you think some of the duties that will be involved in the committee will be?
Like I said, it's going to depend a little bit on the makeup of the group, but I know Deputy Mayor Gerrits is going to be on that committee, as well as myself. So we'll be looking at people who can meet, I think we don't have it set out for sure yet, but maybe 4 times a year. Just to see where we're at as a community, where the deficits that we need to address in terms of equity and inclusion, what's coming up in the calendar, whose voices aren't being heard, and we open it up to the community and see, is there something out there that somebody is really feeling needs to be addressed? So it's a nice jump in point for the community to get their voices heard, in particular about equity. So we'd be dealing with that as well.
Awesome. So I mean, that sounds like it'd be able to work within the schedule, like you mentioned, of even some high school students.
Yes, definitely. And we do want to have youthful voices in there too, because this is their community and they're dealing with a lot of these issues as well. And it would be great for them to understand, or have an understanding of how, this process works with our town council.
100%. I mean, especially getting involved in the political process, just that alone is invaluable. So I mean, even just getting using this as a pathway into that's perfect.
Any students that are interested in the political realm, this would be a great chance to get an idea of how everything works and sort of dip your toe in the water.
Yeah, and you guys would be going in front of council, I think, at least.
Yep, we would be presenting to council at various points and giving recommendations for things that we'd like to see. So that would be a really neat like public speaking and politics introduction for some young people as well.
That's great. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, if you want to get your voice out, like your name out there, like I mean, and again, create some like meaningful change and help people, this would be a great way to do that. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great for our community. I totally encourage you, send in your letter of intent to the Amaranth Township office by September 30th, talking about why you're interested in this, what you hope to achieve, what your background is. Even if you don't have a background in this, but you're passionate about it, get in there and send something in, because I definitely want to see our community come together and create this equitable change.
Exactly. And I mean, we just want to make sure it's clear too. It's not just young people. Retirees can get involved too. Retirees,
young people, different backgrounds. If you are passionate about this, we want to hear from you.
That's great. That's awesome. So it doesn't sound like there's many, but are there any restrictions on who can join?
You do have to be a member or have be a stakeholder in Amaranth. So this area you should live in or work in. I think the high school age is about the youngest that will go at this point in time. And you should have sort of an idea about diversity, equity, and inclusivity, just to inform kind of the choices that we're going to make. So yeah, I think that's basically it. And being a team player and working well with people is certainly an asset.
Yeah.
But we're looking for anyone that can fill sort of those gaps.
Awesome. So is there a message you'd like to get out to Amaranth or Dufferin overall?
Dufferin overall, I'd like to say thank you, because I know Orangeville has been a good role model in doing some of the things we'd like to see here in Amaranth. And for the members of Amaranth in this community, I just really want to encourage you to come out and give this a shot and see if this would be a good fit for you, because this is some really meaningful changing work that has the opportunity to be done.
100%. Awesome. Thank you so much, Stacey. I really appreciate this, and the best of luck with helping form this committee. This, again, looking forward to all the great work that you guys will be doing, and thank you so much for what you've done so far. It has helped.
Thank you. It's been a whirlwind.
Agreed. And thankfully, Amaranth has people like Stacey Whittington and Deputy Mayor Chris Gerrits willing to put in the effort to help restore the reputation of Amaranth after what has happened over the past few months. There are many ways to get involved with our community and help make it a better place. One way to get involved is to get involved with politics by joining committees such as Amaranth's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee, but it can be simply just asking a question during the public question period. I mean, look at what happened when Stacey asked about the lack of a pride flag at Town Hall. It has resulted in Amaranth developing policies for flag raisings and proclamations on top of an attempt to form this committee. Now, there are other issues too that people care about, but for some reason, these mostly stay on social media and never make it to the actual question period. Then these people wonder why things never change or why these issues get ignored. But I mean, if you get involved, be persistent, and rally other people to support the cause and never give up, it can produce results and it can produce change. Stacey Whittington has proven this. Anyways, if you'd like to get involved with Amaranth's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, please email your letter of interest to nmartin@amaranth.ca by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, September the 30th. More details regarding this that were distributed by the Township of Amaranth will be contained in the associated article on the Dufferin News website, dufferin.news. Anyways, big thanks to Stacey Whittington for making this happen and for being my first outdoor interview. I'll get better with my camera work, I promise, but I think it went pretty great. Sorry if I gave you motion sickness though. As always, to the audience, thank you for listening. And I'm Josh McCune with Dufferin News, and until next time, have a great one. Thanks.